قبل نبدأ الفيديو حبيت بس أعتذر منكم بسبب الصوت ما كان واضح، يعني في كان تقطيع شوية أو ما أعرف، في إزعاج، فبالعذر والسموحة منكم. ما كنت منتبه على هذا الشيء، سجلت عاد ساعة وما قدرت أرد أعيده مرة ثانية. السلام عليكم. In this video we're going to be explaining the fundamentals of database systems, module 2 part 1, and as of this video we are going to be explaining everything in English. I'm not going to be explaining anything in Arabic because if you are level 1 and you don't get used to speaking English and you don't know how to speak English, you will have a lot of problems going into the university, and you'll have a lot of problems dealing with the courses that you study. So as of this video I'm not going to be explaining in Arabic so that you can understand English and you can get used to understanding the courses in English. I'm going to be explaining the hard words and hard sentences in Arabic, but the majority of the explanation will be just in English. So let's get started. Okay, so we have many phases or concepts that we need to implement while modeling an entity relationship. What does an entity relationship mean? We have talked about this in the previous videos about this course. Entity is a real world object. Entity يعني شيء في الواقع. أنا entity يعني جسم في العالم الواقعي، أو يعني ما شرط يكون جسم، حتى يكون idea، فكرة، مثل الكلمات في الواقع هي ما شيء، ما شيء حاجة موجودة، لكنها concept، شيء حاجة في أدمغتنا احنا الناس، يعني الناس حاجة اخترعوها في بينهم عشان يتواصلوا مع بعض. هذه تقدر تعتبرها انت entity، كأنها موجودة في الواقع. entity أي حاجة موجودة في الواقع، مدرسة، بيت، إنسان، حيوان، جماد، أي حاجة في الواقع. So we are using entities inside of the computer to simulate the reality that we are living. So why do we need to do that? Because we are dealing with information and we want to store the information. This is a course about database systems. Database systems are systems that are designed to store data inside of the computer. They are designed to store information inside of the computer. And when you store something from the real life, maybe I want to store my name and my ID, my phone number, my place of studying, my place of living, and then I want to group them with other people like my family, my friends, and other colleagues in the university. So I need to make entities inside of the computer. أريد أصمم، يعني لازم أصمم شيء داخل الكمبيوتر عشان يسوي representation حالي أنا، يعني كأني موجود أنا داخل الكمبيوتر. هذا الentity. Okay, so we are using the entity relationship so we can differentiate between each entity and the other, and then we want to link the entities that are similar to each other. We want to link them together. Okay, so that will be that it makes it easier for us to group information together and organize information and then get them as easily as possible. So we have conceptual modeling. Conceptual يعني الفكرة الرئيسية في الموديلينج. كيف ننظم المعلومات. conceptual يعني الفكرة، كيف نطبق أفكار في الواقع. يعني مثلا أنا أجيب مجلد طيب وأسجل فيه البيانات، فيعني لازم أصمم طاولة كذا وأشياء يعني معينة، فهذا conceptual يعني it's the idea of how to organize something or structure something. So it is very important phase in designing a successful database application. So a successful database application, what does a successful database application does? It stores the information that we give it, and it organizes the information and also gives us the information as easy as possible, and it will save us time. So we do all of this so we can save time. So this is all about the databases. So a database application, it refers to databases and programs that implement the database queries and updates. What does a query mean? A query is a request. I go to the university to request information. I go here, I go to SULMS, and I request information from the server, from the university website. This is a database. This website stores the data that I need. If I wanted to know about the Faculty of Business, I'm gonna go to the university website, and the information that is stored inside of this database, it's gonna be given to me in this file right here, in this section right here. This is a database application. This will help me to acquire the information. Acquire is a base. Acquire means I get the information. So a query is a request. I tell the website to give me something, and then the website will give me the information. Okay? Queries يعني طلب. أنا أطلب من الموقع حاجة هو يعطيني إياه. Query يعني طلب. And update, what does update mean? If I wanted to change my name inside of the university, maybe if I wanted to go to Talabat and update my information, if I wanted to make them deliver a meal to me in another place, this is updating the information that is stored inside of their database. Okay, so this is database application. So database application has two main components: queries, which is requests for information, and then update, which is the updating of the database state. Database state, we have talked about this in the previous videos. A database state is the information that is found inside of the database at each given time. Okay, so here, this is a database state. If I change the information inside of this, the database state of the university's website will change. So the database state is always changing. The database schema or the conceptual modeling will not change unless the organizer or the university changes it. What does the conceptual model of the university? This is the conceptual model. So they organize the information for each level. This is level 1, this is level 2, this is level 3. You can't change this order. You see, level 1 will come first, level 2 will come under that, and then level 3 will come under that, level 4 will come under that, and then the master's degree will come under it. So this is a conceptual model. So this is how we organize the information, and we store it in a similar fashion. Okay, so the database state is حالة database is the information that is found, the real information, the information about accounting number 1, the information about the introduction to business and management. This can be changed a lot. They can update the information, they can update the courses, anything, but they will not update the conceptual model and how the database is stored, because they want to keep it like that, so it's gonna be easier for the users to use it. Okay, so entity relationship model. It is used, I don't know who writes this course but they don't know how to write it. Used for what does that mean? This is grammatically incorrect. هذا ما يعني ما أعرف من هذا اللي يكتبه هذا يكتبهن هذا السلايدات، لكن يعني كله جرامر ميستيكس. يعني الطلاب كيف بيفهموا إذا ما كان الجرامر صح، ما كان يوصل المعلومة صح. It is used for the conceptual design of database applications. Entity relationship model is a part of the conceptual modeling, is a part of the process of creating a website. So we assign some relationship between two entities. Let's say I'm an entity inside of the university database, and you are an entity inside of the this is not gonna apply. Let's say I am a part of the university, so I am an entity of the university. Okay, I'm a real object inside of the university. This is why I told you it's an entity. It's not only real world objects, also ideas. So the course is not a real world object, it's just an idea. We are communicating and telling each other ideas. The teacher will teach me ideas, and then they will show me how the system works, and they will teach me about data modeling and databases. This is all ideas. They are not present in the real world. So I told you, an entity is not only a real world object. It also can be an idea. يعني قلنا انه الانتيتي ريليشنشيب، الانتيتي قلنا انه ما فقط تكون اشياء في الواقع، هي حتى تكون افكار. يعني مثلا الكورسات الحين، الكورسات ما موجودات في الواقع، ما شيء موجود في الواقع. هذه احنا بس نعطي افكار، المعلمين يعطونا الافكار اللي فكروا فيها الناس اللي قبلنا واخترعوا هذه الاشياء مثل الداتابيسز وكذا، هم يوصلوا هذه المعلومه حلنا. فهذا conceptual entity، هذا من ضمن الconceptual design يعني الانتيتي relationships. فمعنى two entities، الطلاب واللي هم real world object، and then we have the idea which is الفكرة يعني، واللي هي الكورس، المادة. هذه المادة فقط أفكار يعني ما موجودة في العالم الحقيقي، لكن احنا يعني موجودة في أدمغتنا، يعني احنا نفكر فيها. these are two entities, separate entities, and the relationship between them is I am studying the course. So the course's relationship with me is studying. I study the course and I enroll inside of the course. So this is the entity relationship. So we use that to conceptually model a database. Conceptual data models for database design. Using high-level conceptual data models for database design used to simplify overview of the database design process. A high-level conceptual data model is, we have talked about it in the previous videos also. We have said that in the high level, we separate each user with his own entity. The teachers are entities inside of the database. Let's say inside of the university database. Teachers are entities, and then the students are entities. Okay? So if a student uses the university website, the high level conceptual model will give me the information for only the students, because I log in as a student. But if the teacher logs in as a teacher, they will show them information that is not accessible to me. So high-level conceptual data models separate between each entities and each user. Okay? Used to simplify, it makes it easier for us to use the database. If I go inside of the university and I log in as a student, and then they show me information about other students, and they show me information about the teachers and the faculty, I will not know where to go, and I will have a lot of information that I don't need. The only thing that I need is to go inside of my account and then look at my courses, look at my information, the information that is relevant to me. Okay, so this is high-level conceptual data. The mid-level is how the data stored. The lower level is where the data stored. Database designers should interview database users to understand and document their data requirements. Okay, so the database designers, مصممي الdatabase, they should interview يعني يقابل، يعني يسوي مقابلة مع اليوزرز. So why do we need to interview them? Because interview is not the good word here. The good word is study. I need to know who are my users. The university's users are the students, the teachers, and the administrators. So the students, I need to study I need to know what the student wants from the university. The student wants to learn the courses, and the student does not want to know what's the name, what are the courses inside of other faculties or inside of other universities. He is only concerned with the information and courses relevant to him, to his major. I'll give you another example. If I am going to Talabat and I want to order something, I am a user, I am a consumer. So Talabat team, so when they design their database, they need to study, what do I want? I want to eat, I want to order, and I want good prices, and I want delivery. So they will implement this in their conceptual model, in their conceptual design of the database. So they will store my information, they will store my location, they will store my phone number, they will store my house number, and then they will help the restaurants to get this information from the database. So the restaurants want my information, and I want the restaurant's information. So Talabat will present the information. Let's see. I will show you here. See, you see this? This is what I want. I am as a consumer, I want to go to the restaurant and see the information about the restaurants. And I see the list of the restaurants. This is all stored inside of the Talabat database. So when they designed the database, they have two entities: restaurant and consumer. So the relationship between me and the restaurant is I order from the restaurant. This is my relationship with the restaurant. And then the restaurant serves me food. So this is a relationship between us. So they implement that by giving me the information about the restaurant, the name of the restaurant, the type of the restaurant, international. This restaurants give cafes, breakfast, desserts. Okay, so if I go inside this, they will give me more information. So this is what you need to put in your mind when you design a database. So you should know your users. You should know who is your target audience. Relational databases. Relational databases. A relational database consists of a collection of tables, each of which is assigned a unique name. Relational database consists of collection of tables. What does this mean? Collection of tables. This is entities. We create an entity by creating a table. Okay? So we create the table and then we give it a name, a student. And then under the name of the student, we give him the ID, the student name, the courses that he registered, and everything else. Okay? So this is an entity. It represents the student inside of the database. Okay? So it's like the real world, but it's stored as a database, information inside of the computer. So each of which is assigned a unique name. They have all unique names. So the course has a unique name. You can't name two tables course. If you name them two courses, you can't separate them from each other. So you need to assign a unique table for the student, assign a unique table for the faculties, for the courses. If you are using Talabat, maybe assign a table for the restaurant, assign a table for the consumers, so you can store each entity separate from the other, and then you can link them by a relationship. The relational model represents the database as a collection of relationships. I think you understand this already. So we have said the relationship between me and the teacher is teaching. The teacher is teaching me the course. Okay, so this is a relationship between me and the teacher. So we are going to implement that inside of the database. Okay, so domains. A domain is a set of atomic values. I don't know what this is and why this is included here, but ignore this. A data type or format is also specified for each domain. So a domain is a unique code. domain يعني نطاق. يعني مثلا مثل أرقام في عمان. حنا مفتاح عمان، هذا مفتاح عمان يسموه الدومين. يعني حاجة تمثل عمان في العالم. يعني تفرق بين عمان والسعودية مثلا أو أي دولة ثانية. فهذا دومين يسمى. ليش يسموه دومين؟ عشان ليش حاطين دومين عشان يفرق بين الارقام في العالم. اذا اتصلت على اي رقم، طيب فانت بتتصل يعني مثلا شيء ارقام محدده في العالم، 8 ارقام، الرقم يتكون من 8 ارقام، فهذه الثمانية ارقام ما بيسدن عشان حط كل العالم فيهن. فنستخدم الثمانية ارقام عشان نسهل عملية الحفظ، وبعدين بنزيد عليهن دومين واللي هو المفتاح للدولة، فهذا يسمى دومين. شيء ثاني يمثل دومين واللي هو اللينك مع الموقع، هذا اللينك هذا يسموه دومين، دومين نيم. هذا يفرق بين المواقع، يعني يفرق بين المواقع وبعضها، كلهن حلهن نفس الفورمات واللي هو يعني نفس الديزاين https // بعدين تكتب اسم الموقع، بعدين دوت دومين نيم، هذا الدومين نيم. اوكي، دومين نيم يعني يحدد المكان، مثلا صحار يونيفرسيتي، education تعليم، دوت عمان الدولة، فهذا اسم الموقع، هذا الشيء اللي يختص به الموقع، يعني مثلا .com يعني company شركة، education يعني تعليم universities و schools، .om يعني عمان، فهذا موجود داخل عمان، فهذا يسموهن domain names. domain شيء يحدد نطاق مكان في يعني يحدد مكان في الواقع. So a domain is a value that is set to represent a unique ID for something, like a student ID. This is a domain. Okay. Phone number, we have 8 digits. Student GPA from 0 to 4. Gender, female or male. So this is a domain. Attributes is used to describe an entity. Attributes are used, not is, are used to describe an entity. Also, it refers to a column of data of table. So why do we need attributes? Attributes يعني قلنا خصائص. Why do we need attributes? Because if we go inside of the database. Okay, so as you can see here, if I create a database, a table, okay, and then I want to store the students inside of the database. So I need something to differentiate between the ID number of the student. I need to differentiate between the name of the student, the name of the student, the ID of the student, the family name, maybe anything to separate each relevant information about the student on its own. So we have the ID is the primary key, and then maybe I will add a domain for the name. This is a domain. You see this حقل، هذا الحقل يعني هذا domain، هذا يحدد الاسم. So I can write a name here. You see, this is why we need attributes, so we can differentiate between the information that is relevant to the student. So if I wanted to store my name, okay, and then I can store other students' names, and then so we know that in this field, in this domain, the name is here. The attribute the attribute of the student, I can change the order of this also. I know that the name is gonna be in the second field, and then I know that the ID will be always in the first field. So this is why we need relation. We need attributes, so we can simplify the database, so we can simplify the storage of the information. Okay, attribute types. We have 4 attribute types. We have single valued attribute. It has, why is it have? It has a single value for an entity. This is like the ID. You see? You can't, a single value يعني رقم أحادي أو قيمة أحادية، يعني تكون قيمة واحدة. So a single value does not mean that it includes one number or one character. That means the whole domain includes one bit of information. Information is like my number, my name is Muhammad. It has many letters, but it is a single value because it's information. Okay, so single information attributes. So it has one piece of information. Okay, so it's like the ID right here. The ID can only include one ID. Each student has one ID. Each student has one name. Okay, but student name can also be identified as a composite attribute. We'll get into that. So single value attribute, it can't be a single value attribute. It cannot be replicated. It can only be stored once. So each student can't have 2 IDs. He can only have one ID. Okay? And it does not have parts to it, like the name. We'll go to the name. Composite attribute. A composite attribute can be divided into smaller subparts, which represent more basic attributes. It's like the name of the student. My name is Muhammad Abdullah. Al-Mazani. Okay, so this is one bit of information. This is another bit of information, and this is another bit of information. So my name, my first name, my middle name, which is my dad's name, and then we have my family name. So this is a value. This is a composite value. Composite يعني مركب. شيء مركب، يعني في عدة قطع. القطعة الأولى واللي هي اسمي، بعدين اسم الأب، وبعدين اسم العائلة. This is a composite attribute. لكن ال ID في رقم واحد بس، يعني رقم واحد معين، ولا ما في أجزاء معينة، ولا في ما في مثل هذا، يعني ID 1 و ID 2 و ID 3. يعني في ID 1 وما يستوي نقسمه أقسام. هذا يصير نقسمه أقسام، لكن ما يصير كل ستودنت يحصل أكثر من اسم. فاهمين؟ Okay, so multi-valued attribute. It means a value that has multi values, like the student numbers. Maybe I have 2 numbers, one in Ooredoo and one in Omantel. So I have 2 separate numbers, and I can store them inside of the university maybe. Maybe I can give them to طلبات so they can store them, and when the restaurants want to deliver to me, they can give me the food by calling me on either number. So multi-valued means multi-valued يعني متعدد القيمة، يعني في رقمين أو أكثر. It has nothing. It has. What is this sentence? It have not applicable value for an attribute. This is incorrect. It is not applicable for an attribute. I don't know what this is. Null value. Null يعني صفر. Null means zero. It means nothing. Null يعني لا شيء. Okay, so single value attributes, we have gender. An example of it is gender. Maybe I'm a male or maybe I'm a female. It has only one piece of information. It tells you what my gender is. It only tells you one piece of information. Null attributes, null value or no information. I think this means is maybe I don't have a phone number. Okay, so the university conceptual schema is designed to store a phone number for each student. Okay, so if I don't have a phone number, the university will store my phone number as a null value, no value or information. This means null attribute. I think this is what it is. I'm not sure. I'm not entirely sure. I hope I understand it right like this. You have to ask somebody else if you know, if you want to know about this. I'm pretty sure it's that way. So it has no information. Just put in your mind that it has no information. Null means nothing. Null تعني لا شيء. ما لا يوجد معلومات أو no value يعني لا قيمة لهذا الاتريبيوت. ما يوجد فيه قيمة، ما يوجد فيه معلومة. Composite attributes, we have said student name. A name is composed of other attributes such as the first name, the middle name, and the family name. Multi-valued attributes, we have phone numbers. A person can have more than one phone number. Maybe also a person can have more than one home. So I have one house in Saham and maybe I'll have one house in Suhar. So we have I can add two addresses. Maybe if they allow me to add two addresses in the university. So that's a multi-valued attribute. What is the name of this attribute? It's my house. The tubeless. Couples. Okay, so you can hear this maybe?
Tuples.
It said tuples. Tuples means groups. Is an ordered list of values in a table. Also, it is used to refer to a row. A tuple is an entry inside of the database. An entry inside of the database is maybe it's me. I'm a tuple. I am a tuple inside of the database of the university. Okay, my name, my ID, my teacher, my grade, my room number, my books that I read, all of these are considered as a tuple. Okay, these all are considered as a tuple. tuple يعني مجموعة، يعني أو كأنها هذه الرو كامل، هذا تسمى tuple. اوكي، فأنا كطالب يعني في الجامعة أنا أعتبر as a tuple، an entry في الداتابيس مال الجامعة مثلا، أو داتابيس مال الطلبات، أو داتابيس مال أي موقع ثاني. كل المعلومات اللي هنا موجودة هذه لا تعتبر tuple. tuple يعني مجموعة ordered، يعني مجموعة معلومات منظمة في التيبل. It is used to refer to a row. Okay, so قلنا هنا انه tuple يعني كل مدخل داخل الانتيتي. الانتيتي هنا teacher، اسم التيتشر، اسم ال last name of the teacher، الاي دي وكل شيء. هذه الاشياء اللي تختص بالتيتشر هذه لا تعتبر تابلز. تابلز قلنا انه entry، كل معلم او كل مثلا طالب في الانتيتي مال الطلاب، في الطاوله مال الطلاب، في الجدول مال الطلاب، كل طالب يعتبر as a tuple. هنا tuples يعني tuples جمع s آخر شيء. tuple is a group of information. Tuples means multiple groups of informations. مجموعة من مجموعات، يعني هذه مجموعة من المعلومات ومجموعة من المعلومات. أكثر إذا كان عندك أكثر من مدخل داخل الجدول مال الانتيتي فهذا يسمى tuples. إذا كل tuple يعني مفرد، tuple يعني مفرد، tuples يعني جمع. Relations is an association among several entities. Relations قلنا إنهن العلاقات بين الطلاب والمعلمين، العلاقة بين الطالب والكورس، وهكذا علاقة يعني ترابط. is an association among several entities. Relationship between the teacher and the student. Heck, this is not correct. Teach is T-E-A-C-H. It's not T-E-C-H. I don't know who writes this. How can you give the students wrong information? I don't know. Student register شو يعني؟ يعني يسجل. أنا أسجل داخل الكورس. student أنا أسجل، يعني هذا فعل، أنا أقوم بالفعل إني أسجل داخل الكورس في فترة القبول والتسجيل. هذه relationship between me and the course. Relation between me and the student, the teacher is teaching تعليم. An employee work in, they work in, they don't work on a finance department. Employee work in, this is a verb. An employee يشتغل في، ما يشتغل على، يشتغل في. work in finance department. finance يعني مالي، قسم المالية مثلا، مالي، أموال. entity is a thing or an object in the real world. I have explained this many times, and if you don't know what an entity is, I have nothing else to say to you. Two types of entities as the following: weak entity set, an entity set that does not have attributes to form a primary key. Strong entity set, an entity set that has a primary key. So why do we need a primary key? We want the primary key to differentiate between each entry inside of the database. So we have said that students can have the same name. My name is Muhammad. So we have maybe thousands of students inside of the university. So that means at least 100 students inside of this university has the name Muhammad. So how are you gonna differentiate between me and the other students? Maybe you can differentiate between me and the other students by the middle name and the family name. But sometimes my name is Muhammad Abdullah Muzani. So sometimes other students will have the same first name, the same middle name, and then the same family name. So we need something to differentiate between each student. So we have a primary key. The primary key is the ID. Each student inside of the university have a unique ID, and it's like here, single valued attribute. It cannot be entered more than once. It cannot include the same information for each student. It cannot be the same for each student. So this is a single valued attribute. And then the name is a composite attribute. We have said that before. Okay, so my name is a composite attribute. It has several levels. The ID is the ID is a unique ID for each student, so we use the ID to set as the primary key. And if we go inside of the view design, we can, as you can see here, it's set as a primary key. And then the name, it is not set. I can set this as a primary key, but I don't want to, because names could be replicated and the IDs cannot be replicated. primary key يعني المفتاح الأساسي. المفتاح الأساسي للentity. Okay. Constraints. An entity relationship. ER. You need to remember this. If you see ER in the exam, you need to know its entity relationship. The relationship between the entities inside of the table. Inside of the database, not the table. Schema. Define an entity relationship schema defines certain constraints to which the contents of a database must conform. This means we have a set of rules. Okay? We have a set of rules inside of this database. We have in the ID attribute, we can only enter numbers. This is a rule. This is a constraint. Constraint يعني قيود. Certain يعني قيود معينة. القيد المعين في هنا في هذه المنطقة في الاي دي، في حقل الاي دي، القيد او الشرط انه يكون نمبر. اذا كان ادخلت شيء غير النمبر ما اقدر ادخل شيء غير نمبر. الحين اضغط بي سي دي ماشي، ما اقدر، لكن هنا اقدر احط ارقام او حروف. So constraint يعني قلنا شو قلنا constraint يعني قيود، القيد أو يعني الشرط اللازم اتباعه في إدخال المعلومات داخل هذا. To which the contents of a database must conform. So in relationships we can put constraints. Maybe the students and the courses will not have more than one relationship. We can set one relationship between the course and the student. Maybe we'll put two relationships between the students and the teachers. So the database constraint هنا, so they specify two constraints. Constraint number one, rule number one, key attribute. And then number two is mapping cardinality. Okay, mapping cardinality. Mapping يعني خريطة. تخيل انك تساوي خريطة بين الفاكولتيز وبين المعلمين وبين الكورسز وبين الطلاب. فيكون كأنه يعني رسم، يعني كأنه رسم خريطة. cardinality يعني العناصر الأساسية، أو cardinal يعني أساسي. cardinality يعني الأشياء الأساسية في الخريطة بين خريطة العلاقات بين الطلاب بين عناصر الداتابيس، عناصر الداتابيس، الانتيتيز اوف ذا داتابيس، معلمين، طلاب، مطاعم، مستخدمين، كل هذه الاشياء، كل الانتيتيز اللي داخل اي داتابيس، ما شرط تكون الجامعه او اي شيء ثاني او اي موقع ثاني، لكل المواقع في العالم، مثلا جوجل، امازون عشان تشتري اشياء، هذه كلها حلها داتابيس. وايش داتابيس فيها entities وفيها relationship between entities. mapping cardinality العناصر الأساسية للخريطة بين الentities. key attributes of an entity type. It is the key or uniqueness constraint on attributes. It is the key or unique constraint on attributes. Key attribute values can be used to identify each entity uniquely. For example, Dr. ID, DID, first name, last name, address, specialty. Key attribute DID, Doctor ID, Doctor ID, which can define each doctor uniquely. This is not true, this is grammatical mistake. Which can define, this is another grammatical mistake, each doctor uniquely. الكي attribute قلنا الحاجة اللي تفرق بين الانتيتيز، واللي هي الاي دي. اغلب الاشياء في اي طاولة، في اي موقع، في اي database بتشوف انه فيه اي دي في كل entity. students حالهم اي دي، المعلمين حالهم اي دي، المطاعم حالهن اي دي، المستخدمين حالهم اي دي. مثلا في موقع مثلا عشان تغسيل السيارات، كل سيارة حالها اي دي، كل موظف داخل مغسلة حاله اي دي، وهكذا. فالاي دي يعني حط في بالك انه دائما يكون الاي دي الاساسي، بس ما يعني ما في كل داتابيس، لكن الاغلب في الجنرال رول يعني انه الاي دي بيكون الكي الاساسي. Okay, so mapping cardinalities means the how each entity relates to the other entity, and it refers to also the they tell you here it's they are most useful in describing binary relationships. Binary relationships يعني العلاقات الثنائية، يعني بين شيئين معينين، مثل هذه binary relationship. binary يعني ثنائي، يعني بين شيئين. هذا الانتيتي واحد، هذا الانتيتي اثنين، فيهن attributes. اوكي، فيهن الاتريبيوتس، لكن الاتريبيوتس ما هن اللي ما هن اللي يصير لهن relationship، يصير objects inside of the entity. يعني مثلا الطلاب، it's like the students. We have the student entity, which is the representation of the real object inside of the computer, and then we got each student has ID, has name, has something. So Muhammad is an object of the entity. So this one here is Muhammad, this one is Abdullah, this one is Khalid, this one is someone else. Okay, so each instance, each row, each what's it called, tuples, each tuple is a relationship instance. If we have two tables and we have this column, this row connected to the other table 1 to 1, so that means there is only one object from this table is connected to the other table, like this. So this is table number 1. Where is that? Okay, this is table number 1. This is table number 2. So we have Ahmed connected maybe with a course, Khalid connected with another course. So we have, this is 1-to-1 relationship, 1-to-1 relationship, and then this is 1-to-1 relationship. But binary relationship set between entity sets A and B. This is set A and this is set B. So we have objects, object 1 and object 2. Object 1 inside of the A set will connect with one object in the B set. It cannot connect with two objects, so that will be one too many, like here. A is connected with B and A is connected with B too. So we have one too many connections or relationships. So 1-to-1, an entity in A right here is associated with at most one, at most يعني في الماكسيمم، آخر شيء يعني ماكسيمم يعني واحد بس، relationship واحدة، يعني متصلة مع شيء ثاني من المجموعة الثانية بشيء واحد بس، ماكسيمم. ما يصير يتصل بشيئين. مثلا الطالب ما يصير ياخذ يعني شو بنقول، مثلا لو كان النظام في الجامعة ان الطالب ما يصير ياخذ غير كورس واحد في الفصل، فبيكون هذه 1-to-1 relationship، يعني انه اخذ كورس واحد بس وما اخذ اكثر من هذا في الكورس. طيب at most one entity in B, and an entity in B is associated with one at most. So 1-to-1, it means both sides connect with one object in the opposite side. Okay? 1-to-many, it means one of the sides connects to many objects in the other side. So objects in the B object, set of objects cannot associate or make a connection, make a line between any other object inside of set A. It's just one. B is connected to A1. B2 is connected to A1. Okay, so A is connected to both B1 and B2. So this is one to many relationship. This is one to one relationship, which is A connects with B1, A2 connects with B2. So this is the relationship between entities. And then we got many to one, which is the flip, the opposite of this. The opposite of this. So sets of A, the objects in A, object 1 can connect with one object of B only. And then it reverses. It's like this, but in reverse. An entity in A associated with at most one entity. This is just the opposite of this one. One to many, many to one. So many to many, an entity A is as associated يعني أكثر من object في الset A يتصل بأكثر من object في الset B. نفس الشيء. يعني الأوبجكت هذا يقدر يتواصل مع هذا ويكون مع علاقة مع هذا ويكون مع علاقة مع هذا ويكون مع علاقة. فهذه هو ال one to one وال many to many وهذا. Data model was developed to facilitate database design. Allow specification of a schema that represents the overall logical structure of a database. Useful in mapping the meanings and interactions of a real world onto a conceptual schema. So all of this course is just to tell you, to help you design your database. This is all just preparing you to, you can sketch, you can make sketches or diagrams, which means a drawing. You can make a drawing like this, and you can organize your database before you start inputting the information inside of the database, before you start coding the database inside of the language, the data what the hell. Before you do anything, you can just sketch and you can adjust your database. This is all telling you about how to organize your database. Okay, so you will use these to make your projects later in the university. So these symbols you just need to remember them. هذا حفظ، هذا كله حفظ. relationship يكون مربع، weak entity يعني ما فيها ID أو primary key، يكون فيها هذه مربع داخل مربع. entity عادية فيها يعني strong entity، فيها هذا ما فيها مربع داخل. attribute يكون هذا الشكل. key attribute هذا لكنهم باقيين في الاختبار يمكن، يعني لازم تحفظوهن هذيلا. هذا الحفظ بس فيه، يعني لازم تكون فاهم كل هذا الاشياء. هذا اللي فهم، ما فيه شيء حفظ، هذا كله فهم فوق، لكن تحت هنا يعطيك الحفظ. هذه ذيلا بس 3 سلايدات. اول شيء هنا entity 1 to 1 relationship هذا الشكل مقلوب، هذا عدد الصوب ما اعرف ليش، بس هذا اللي حفظ، يعني اشياء حفظ. 1 to many, many to 1, many to many, and that's it.